The Star Wars universe is endless. Join Collider as we chronologically order all of Star Wars so you can be sure to catch the story from start to finish.
This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
First in the series is the Acolyte, taking place at the end of the High Republic. That's about 100 years before Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace then follows and officially starts the Skywalker saga. Next up is Attack of the Clones, set just 10 years after the events of Phantom Menace. Then comes the Clone Wars movie, followed immediately by the series. Then we're on to Tales of the Jedi, which spans all the way back to the Phantom Menace era up until the reign of the Empire.
You achieve a power greater than any Jedi.
Next is Revenge of the Sith, which takes place 3 years after the first Battle of Geonosis. Tales of the Empire then takes place just after the fall of the Republic, followed by The Bad Batch, which is set after the Clone Wars and the aftermath of Order 66. A Star Wars story then places us 10 to 14 years before the events of A New Hope.
The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden.
Obi-Wan Kenobi gets us a bit closer at about 9 years before the events of A New Hope. Andor then follows, taking place in year 5 BBY, or before the Battle of Yavin. Star Wars Rebels also takes place about 5 BBY. Then there's Rogue One, which takes place just weeks before the events of A New Hope.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
She's beautiful.
Finally, we find ourselves at the much-anticipated A New Hope, marking the 0 point in our timeline, with events before it labeled BBY and events after labeled ABY, or after the Battle of Yavin. That takes us to The Empire Strikes Back, our first film in the original trilogy.
Is Darth Vader my father?
Your father is.
Return of the Jedi follows, and Luke Skywalker is officially in the middle of his hero's journey. The Mandalorian happens about 9 years later and runs contemporaneous to the Book of Boba Fett. Now we're at Ahsoka, or 11 years ABY. Skeleton Crew is next at about 9 years ABY and 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Star Wars Resistance then leaps forward into the future to about 34 ABY, or 6 months before the start The Force Awakens, which naturally takes us to The Force Awakens.
The Force. It's calling to you.
It's here that we meet Kylo Ren and the First Order. The Last Jedi then follows, and Luke Skywalker meets Rey. And The Rise of Skywalker is where we currently find ourselves. While it may be the end of the Skywalker saga, it is certainly not the end of Star Wars. And there you have it, weeks of viewing for your Star Wars marathon from beginning to end. Thanks for watching Collider. See you next time.